Hey friends, today's video is on rates and unit rates. So let's talk about the difference between rates and ratios. A ratio is a division comparison of quantities with the same unit. So if a team wins 3 games out of 5 games that they've played, the ratio of wins to total games can be written like this: 3 games to 5 games. Notice that they have the same label. They can also be the same category. We've talked about this before, like if I have 2 cats to every 3 dogs, then I have 5 animals, right? So they can be the same category. Now, rates, on the other hand, are a special type of ratio. So a rate is a ratio. They are a division comparison of 2 quantities with different units. So in your notebook right now, I want this right here. Rates are a comparison of 2 different units. Okay, so rates are a comparison of 2 different units, or you can write the whole definition. So, for example, a train is traveling at 65 miles per hour. This is written like this, and that is a rate. So in your notebook right now, or on your loose leaf paper, you should have the definition and the example. Okay, so what is a unit rate? A unit rate is a rate with a second term of 1. So when I'm looking at the rates here, I am comparing quantities of different units, like 180 miles for 3 hours. In order to convert that to a unit rate, this bottom number has to be equal to 1. So I divide the top number by the bottom number, 180 divided by 3 and get 60, and divide the bottom number by itself and get 1. Down here, 300 meters for 10 minutes, so I divide by 10 for both of them, and I get 30 meters for 1 minute. These are unit rates. Okay, so in your notebook, I want to see these 2 examples. 180 miles for 3 hours is a rate. And again, you don't need this definition because you already have it. But you need these 2 examples. So if we're looking at unit rates, kilometers per hour, cost per item, earnings per week, or earnings per week, and grams per serving. You can tell my mind is always thinking about shopping, right? Earrings per week. How many can I wear in a week? All right, so let's talk about unit price. A unit price is a price per unit, or a price per 1 item. Okay, so it's how much something costs, but only one of those somethings. So it's always the price divided by the number of units, or the number of items, and that gives us our unit price. So for example, 3 donuts for $1.50. So when I'm looking at the unit price, $3, 3 donuts for $1.50, I can use long division. 3 doesn't go into 1, so that's a 0. Bring up my decimal point. It goes into 15 5 times, so 5 times 3 is 15, and there's nothing left over. Bring down my 0. 3 doesn't go into 0, so I'm done. 50 cents per donut. And per is how we write our unit rates. Okay, so now I want you to try it. We have 10 bracelets for 5 friends. So let's first write it as a rate. And then I want you to change each of these rates into a unit rate. Okay, remember your unit rate should always have a 1 in the bottom. And then make sure that you circle it. I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did, so make sure you have a red pen ready to check your work. I will be looking for your red pen on your video notes. Okay, so on this one, we're going to divide by 5 on both, and we are left with 2 bracelets. On the next one, 240 miles, and you can abbreviate miles, for 8 hours. You can also abbreviate hours. So we want to know how many for 1 hour. So we're going to divide by 8, and we get 30 miles per hour. You can write it like this, or you can write it with the per, 30 miles per hour. Okay, 12 slices of pizza for 4 people as a rate looks like this. So for 1 person, I divide both by 4, and I get 3 slices per person. All right, number 4, 90 pages in 6 days looks like this. How many in 1 day? Divide by 6, and that gives us 15 pages per day. So those are all unit rates. Now let's talk about unit price. We always put our money over our items. Okay, why do we do that? Well, $80 for 20 flowers would mean that I'm paying $4 per flower, right? So if I flipped them over, that would mean that I was paying 25 cents for each flower. And 25 cents, where am I getting that? Because 20 divided by 80 is 1/4, right? And we know if we took 25 cents times 20, that would only be $5. Is that the true statement? No, because 20 flowers cost $80. So it's always the money over items. Write that in your notebook or on your loose leaf paper. Money over items, okay? So I want you to go ahead and try 2 through 5 for me. Make sure that you set it up with the money over the items and find your unit rate. All right, make sure you label, and I'll be back in just a second to show you what I did. Okay, so here's all of my rates. Ask yourself right now, did I set every rate up with the money over the items? Then ask yourself, did I label everything? All right, finally, you have to divide both. So $3 divided by 6 was 50 cents. If you just put 0.5, that's not correct. You've got to make sure that you have 50 cents. So you definitely need that 0 there for the hundredths place, or else it doesn't look like money. Here we're going to divide by 10, and we get 50 cents again. Okay, so it's 50 cents per apple here. If down here we divide 1650 by 3, we get $5.50 per pizza. And then down here, if we divide the $77 by 7 books, we're paying $11 per book. Okay, so now that we've got the basics, let's problem solve. Okay, if you want to write down these questions so that way you can underline the key information circle the key information and underline the question, you can. Otherwise, go ahead and watch me now. All right, so Susan made $108 in 6 weeks. That's key information. How much money did she make in 1 week? That's also key information, and we need to underline the question so we know that in the end we need an answer, and it's going to be an amount of money per week, right? Because we want to know 1 week. I'm going to circle that and place it over to the side so that way I can just put my answer right here when I'm done. So it's always money over the items or over the information, right? So if she's making $108 in 6 weeks, how much does she make in 1 week? Well, we divide both by 6, and when we take 108 and divide it by 6, we get $18. So Susan makes $18 per week. Go ahead and try the bottom one for me in just a second, and I'll show you what I did. Okay, grab your red pen. The first thing that I did was circle key information. Then I write my label over here. So I write my rate, and then I set it equal to 1 minute, and I divide by 30, and when I do that, I get 15. So an adult blinks 15 times per minute. And that's all I have for you today. See you next time.